Hey guys, thanks for listening. This is our first ever podcast. I have Joe with me. This is Kelly and Joe from Cabin Coffee. And wow, it's been a ride. We've been open for 5 years. I can't believe we've actually made it 5 years. We thought we'd kick off our 5-year anniversary by doing this podcast in the first of our series. It's going to be fun. We have a lot of visitors, a lot of guests with us today. I have people from River Prairie, Mike and the mayor, Brenden. And then I have some financial folks that I asked to come in because how is it possible to even borrow $1 million to start a business? It's a little crazy, but here we are. We made it. Joe, tell me, what did you think when I came home and told you that I was going to open a coffee shop in the River Prairie?
Well, if I remember correctly, you came home and said, hey, guess what? We're going to open a coffee shop in River Prairie. And my response was, cool, I'm going to open a brewery in River Prairie. We can be neighbors. Ultimately, you got the coffee shop, and I'm still waiting on my brewery.
Well, that could be next. Don't tempt me.
So 5 years. It's been just kind of a crazy ride from not really ever having a business or owning a business or ever wanting to own a business, and then having to learn how to lead people, how to just run the business aspect of it was so far away from my norm or my wheelhouse. There were some stressful times, there was some rewarding times, and there's been losses and victories along the way, but for the most part, it's been kind of an enjoyable ride. That's been the last 5 years, and we're going to keep on chugging along here and keep on doing another 5 years.
Well, I think it really comes down to the people involved. I mean, this community is awesome. So thank you, everybody. Thanks for listening. Thanks for being a part of our community and part of our coffee shop experience. We couldn't do it without you. And our baristas. We have amazing staff, and we get a lot of feedback from our staff. They're great to work with. And, they put their heart and soul in working here at the coffee shop as well. So that's kind of why I decided to bring on the guests that we have, just to thank them and to talk about all the changes that have happened, because it's only been 5 years and I feel like it's been forever. I mean, we opened in 2018, August-ish, September. And that first year was rough. I mean,
it was very rough. The unknown, the unforeseen things that pop up when you are opening a business. I believe the first winter was the worst winter in the history of Wisconsin in 2018. We opened up late in the summer in August, and we really didn't have a time to get a cushion for financing. And that first winter was tremendous. It was 50 degrees below zero, or it was snow up to your knees every day. Snow removal is a real thing. It's a real expense that we didn't foresee.
Yeah, I remember. I think we lost like $80,000 that year, and we were like, "Ooh, okay, we can do this. Keep chugging along. Not every business makes money right away. We got to withstand." Started to turn things around, and then COVID happened after that?
Then COVID happened, and we had one of those situations where financially we weren't going to be able to close our doors and maintain. So we had to close our lobby, but we were considered essential, so we had to drive through, and we have food and coffee, and it's had to just go all in. I remember you coming in and making coffee in the morning before work and leaving, and I would slide in and work the rest of the day with one or two other people. So
yeah, thank God for that drive-through.
Yeah, no doubt. That's the one thing that saved us during COVID. So that was a learning experience. I just tell people that we've been baptized in fire. We're hardened. Our staff is, because we've been able to navigate the waters relatively, pretty good with some hard work. And some grit and some stubbornness. And for the most part, that's kind of how we've done it since we've opened.
Yeah, I think things are pretty smooth now. Let's just keep it that way. No major things happening, and we'll be set. But
smooth is good.
All right. Well, coming up in the first part of our segment here, like I said, I'm bringing Mike Golat and Brenden Pratt on the show just to talk about all the things that have changed in this area. River Prairie, when you and I first looked at this area, there was 5-6 businesses at the most. A lot of it was field yet. It's changed quite a bit. So I'm excited to hear all the things that they have going on, what's coming up. And then, like I said, I have some financial people. Luke Kempen couldn't be with us here today, but he helped us develop a business plan. And that we used to get a loan from Wisconsin. Bryce helped us out, connected us with Mike Dykman, Toby from the Regional Business Funds. And together they really just came together to help us get here. So I appreciate them. I appreciate all of you guys. Like I said, thanks for listening. Thanks for being a part and coming into the coffee shop. And I'm excited to hear what they have to say. All right, we're back with Mike Golat and Brenden Pratt from River Prairie. I'm excited to hear what's going on, guys, about the River Prairie area and how much has changed, what you have coming up. But first, a question for you, Mike. I remember 5 years ago, actually more than that, because we've been open for 5 years. I remember a breakfast when you were presenting the River Prairie, and I came up, I was like, I don't see a coffee shop or some kind of food, like more food in the area. And I remember you saying, I can't believe someone hasn't opened a coffee shop yet. And I told you, what? I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
What did you think at that moment?
Well, of course, we had a lot of fits and starts in the history of River Prairie. So, of course, I'm always a little reserved, enthusiastic, but reserved when someone comes forward, especially, when you came forward and your background wasn't in restaurants and coffee. You had a whole other profession. And so, I was optimistic, but didn't know if it was going to happen. So I was really grateful that it did, of course.
That's fair. I think I called your office, set up a meeting, and then Joe and I came in, and it got a little bit more real. And then Brenden and others started to join the conversation, and here we are. But I laugh about that story all the time. And as we said earlier, I came home and told Joe the same thing, and he also thought I was crazy.
Still sometimes do think we're crazy with the things that we get ourselves into 100%. So.
Yep. But it's been good. It's been a fun ride. It's been really good. And, yeah, we wanted to thank you guys. So what's going on in River Prairie these days?
Well, we continue to build out. I think the only lot that we have left is the one right next to you, which is going to be a candy shop and some apartments. And, of course, it's all about activating the park space now and getting people down here. We have a lot of fun events. We've had a lot of our concert series, of course, continues to be great and so well embraced by the community, something that the mayor started and has become very popular. The big event that we have coming up this fall is, of course, our Ginormous Pumpkin Festival on September 23rd. It's become an annual event that people look forward to, and it's one of the biggest pumpkin weigh-offs in the whole world, actually. I think a couple of years ago we were number 2 in the whole world with regard to the number and total weight of pumpkins that we weighed there.
Wow.
And the Pumpkin Festival is Mike's idea, and it's really grown into a very popular event. Mike used to be trying to grow the biggest pumpkin in the neighborhood, but I think he's falling short in the last few years. But but no, it's just another event to bring people down to the River Prairie area, and it's just another great September fall event, and we couldn't be happier for all the events that are going on around River Prairie.
Now, did you guys have a vision of what you wanted this to be like when you were planning this area? Yeah,
so that's a good question. I think I was just going to talk about that, how coffee fits into that. When we envisioned River Prairie, we based on the placemaking principles. And what that generally means is you need to create as many things for as wide a demographic as possible to activate public space and bring people to business. And to me, what that means is tapping into things that people are passionate about, right? So music and art and fitness and family and kids, all those things, and food, and certainly coffee. People are so passionate about coffee. So since the beginning of planning for River Prairie, as we developed the plan, we hope that someone would make River Prairie their home and bring coffee with them. And we've been so lucky to have you. What I like about Cabin Coffee is that you're local. Everyone knows you. Everyone, you talk about Cabin Coffee. Oh, those guys, Joe's over there every day, and it's just awesome. And I hear so many just good customer service stories, and I think that's what sets you apart from some of the other coffee shops in town, is that customer service, and that it really is home to a lot of people that want to come every morning and have their coffee.
Yeah, we were definitely looking as a council, looking at trying to get businesses in here that were local, that people knew, and we didn't want franchise operations where corporate headquarters were in St. Louis or wherever. We wanted homegrown. We wanted people that lived in the community, that operated in the community. So we're just fortunate to have you guys and others like you in the River Prairie development. And we thought of River Prairie as a place that people could live, work, eat, and be in the community, be part of this River Prairie community. So we're very fortunate you guys are here.
I don't know who did the planning, but when I look at this area and how beautiful it is between the creek and the trail and everything that you guys managed to fit in it, I'm amazed, because I just think of this area and I'm like, how in the world did you plan it to turn out so beautiful? It's awesome.
Yeah, again, it came back to even before my time, the council provided the leadership for the vision of this. It was planned to be a mixed-use development from the very beginning, with a mix of housing, businesses, both service businesses and retail and restaurants, and I think we struck a good balance in terms of we have a lot of locals, but Quick Trip's important. Quick Trip's very important as a traffic driver. Woodman's is very important as a traffic driver. We struck a very good and deliberate balance between those local companies that make us unique. We wanted, when people pulled off the highway and pulled into our development, that they knew that they were in Altoona, right? And not just any old off-ramp anywhere in the United States with all the franchises. So that was a big part of what we've done. Our partnerships as well. We had partnerships with the DNR on projects, with the Boy Scouts, with the veterans, of course. These are things that make the River Prairie very unique. Investment in the arts, partnership with Visit Eau Claire. That's been another big part of the story. And of course, River Prairie Center activating, having our own place for events, which has been very, very popular, and again is another traffic driver down here. I mean, every weekend all summer there's weddings that stay at the hotel. That's really important for our for our businesses. They might walk over here and get some coffee, or use you guys for coffee in the morning. So.
Yeah, one real quick story. This last Wednesday, with talking about the music festivals down here, it started to rain, and it rained hard. It was raining and blowing, and but the people are already here, and and I was surprised when it came down around 6, and people were huddled underneath the tent, and in fact there were people out underneath the umbrellas, and it was raining and hard, and I was like, man, you guys are either crazy or you're just super diehard fans to go through that and sit out in the rain. But people really love being down here. They love the concerts. They love being part of River Prairie. So but it's all part of a family down here, so it's pretty fun and pretty unique to see the people that are enjoying this whole development and being part of it. So I told them, I said, you guys are crazy, but I guess they're diehard fans and just don't want to give up. So that's great to see everybody down here.
But I think it's a tribute to you guys in your foresight of this development of this area. I have friends all over the state, all over the country from when I played football, and they know Altoona, Wisconsin because of River Prairie. They've been here, they've passed through, they stopped by. So when they ask where is Cabin Coffee, I'm so proud to say we are in River Prairie in Altoona, Wisconsin, and people either, oh, I've heard of that, or have been here and said, oh, that place is beautiful. I love walking along the river. I mean, there's so many attributes that bring people here. In, like you said, a wide variety, and I think you guys just did an outstanding job on the design. And yeah, of course, there's trials and tribulations in any sort of undertaking of something of this magnitude, but you guys hit a home run here. Just did a great job.
Well, those are kind words. This reminds me of a story. My son Jacob and I were in South Dakota a couple of years ago, North Dakota, Teddy Roosevelt Park, and we were hiking. And we ran into people, and they were from the East Coast, and they traveled from the East Coast to get out there, and they said, where are you from? And I said, Altoona, Wisconsin. They said, oh, we ate at 44 North when we came through there.
Nice.
I'm like, well, why'd you eat at 44 North? Well, we read the reviews, and we read about the area, and that's where we wanted to stop. So that was really interesting.
That's awesome. Well, guys, check it out. If you haven't been to River Prairie, I encourage everyone to come down and check it out because it is beautiful. We thank you guys so much. For all intents and purposes, I think you made it pretty easy. For us, anyway, being that we didn't know what we were doing. We weren't in the restaurant or coffee business before, and you helped us. You helped us walk through it and got us here. So we appreciate you. We appreciate what you've done for this community, and check it out.
Well, we're very grateful to have you here. Thank you.
And because I do not handle the financing at all when it comes to Cabin Coffee, that is the work of my wife. I do the day-to-day, and I'm going to hand it over to her, and we can introduce our next guest.
Sounds good. And yeah, honestly, I've been in business a long time, but when it comes to borrowing money, I had no idea what I was doing. In fact, I didn't know how much this was going to cost. After I got my quote from Royal and I looked at the dollar amount, I was a little intimidated. And I thought, well, let's see what crazy person borrows me $1 million to see if we can get this up and running. But I felt good about it. I had a good plan. Tried a couple places. Ultimately, I ended up with you, Bryce. Walk me through how you guys got me the funds and what that looked like.
Yeah. Well, good morning. First of all, thank you for the opportunity to be here, and congratulations on your 5 years. It's been a great project and successful, obviously. My name is Bryce Manning. I'm with Wisconsin Credit Union. I've been in the industry about 25 years, and mostly commercial lending. It was a project that Kelly and Joe developed a good, thorough business plan. They did a lot of research. It was a project that involved real estate, construction, and some equipment, and just with some experience and kind of recognized it a project that could be done maybe conventionally or partner on the SBA 504 program, and we'll get into that a little bit. So it was a nice, it was a recipe for success. So it was a great location, a good business plan, and most importantly, good people. Kelly and Joe have a strong acumen. They were easy to work with. It takes a little bit of capital as well. So we just tried to formulate a meaningful financing structure and then help bring in some other partners on the project. So I'll pass this over to Mike.
Yeah, thanks, Bryce. I'm Mike Dykman with WBD. That used to stand for Wisconsin Business Development. Now it's just WBD. But we fly pretty far under the radar. We're one of about between 150 and 200 certified development companies around the nation, but we bring the SBA's 504 program to the public. And we're always in partnership with a bank or credit union, so we're not competing with them at all. And this was really a perfect, I've used Joe and Kelly's project as an example in talking with people where you bring multiple players to the table. In this case, you've got the main lender, Bryce, here at Wisconsin, and then ourselves, and then we also brought the Regional Business Fund, which is offered by West Central Wisconsin Regional Planning Commission, all coming together to basically accomplish the same goal. And not to get too far into the weeds here, but basically with the SBA 504 program, it's meant to be a win-win for the lender, Wisconsin, because our financing comes in a subordinate position or behind them in a lien position, but also then for the borrowers, being able to bring less cash to the table is always a good thing, and then to also access a long-term fixed rate on up to generally between 30 and 40% of the project, and even with that lower down payment, the money from Regional Business Fund can actually count towards that. So the more we can let Joe and Kelly hang on to some of their own cash for some fallback and for working capital and things like that is always better. So it was just a really a good partnership with Bryce at Wisconsin, Toby Lemieux from Regional Planning. It just came together really nicely.
So speaking of rates, which I really appreciate the rate you guys provided at the time. I mean, I'm still hanging on to some of that. I have the SBA loan at a fixed long-term rate, like you mentioned. What are rates these days?
Great question, Kelly. So, in general, rates have doubled from about a year ago. You could see now you have a long 25-year fixed rate term. Shorter term rates, fixed rates, kind of range from maybe the high fives to on up to 7.5%, 8%, depending on the project. There's a lot of variables, and duration is a part of that. Right now, there's shorter term rates are higher, so I'm talking 1 to 3 years is kind of higher than a little further out 5-year rates. So it's an inverted yield curve. So, but in general, prime is to 8.5 now. So, but we see like commercial borrowing rates, in the 6s. So.
And on our end, like you said, even pre-COVID, our rates were real low, down around 4%. And then when COVID hit, they actually got down below 3%. And so for a period of a couple of years there, we were lending money anywhere from high 2s to 4%.
Wow.
And now, yeah, it was crazy, but it was good for the borrowers. And now in the last year and a half or so, our rates have gone up into the low to mid 6s, which historically is still a really good rate, especially fixed for 20 or 25 years. It's just that people got kind of spoiled by the COVID rates. So, yeah.
So would you say if someone was thinking about opening a business or taking out a commercial loan, personal loan, is now still a good time? What are we looking at? And I mean, nobody has a crystal ball, I'm sure, but what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I would say it still takes the fundamentals. I think the Chippewa Valley is going to continue to grow. There's still opportunities in market for a wide range of businesses. Labor force is still kind of an issue, and supply chain in some industries. But I would say absolutely, if it has the right recipe, I think there's always an opportunity to start a business. Yeah.
And you guys are so good about working with people. I mean, you really helped us. Like, tell us this is a good idea. Tell us that this is going to work. And between the planning we did and your input, we felt pretty confident. But I think that's where you guys are really helpful in making sure people have a good plan.
Well, and sometimes you have to. Sometimes you're helping someone by saying this isn't a good plan, or you need to go back and do something else. Mm-hmm. And that's where we, fairly regularly will refer folks to the Small Business Development Center for help with their business plan and their projections. And folks that aren't necessarily, they may have a good concept, but they're just not ready to take the plunge. And so, we like to think it's never fun to try, rain on someone's parade, but we think that maybe with some work, there's a way to get there. So that's, I guess, just part of our job.
Yeah, we might have to have Luke on here from, what is it called again?
The SBDC?
Yeah, Small Business Development Center. he's got this workbook. It has multiple tabs. He helps you with research. It's pretty awesome. So,
yeah, it's a good. My compliments, or our compliments to Luke and his team, and Mike and their team helped make the process go pretty smoothly. There was construction going on. I think Kelly, during that process, she changed jobs. So lots of different things happening, and it's already 5 years ago. So great project.
yeah.
And I also just have to mention, we never know for sure how a business is going to go, especially if it's a startup. We have nothing to look back on. But when we receive an application and a business plan, there's some clues there that we get. And for example, some people, okay, this is necessary evil paperwork. And that was not the case with you. It was very thorough, very well prepared. And I believe you would have had some support from your franchisor in some help for just the cabin coffee concept. And then when you mentioned, hey, we need a drive-through, even though that's going to cost, I'm sure every day you would say, okay, there's no way we would want to do this without the drive-through, right?
Oh, absolutely. A drive-through is a huge component. We were talking about that earlier, just between COVID. But regardless, in general, we have a lot of our business. I would say about 60% of our business is drive-through, which is amazing. Took a little learning curve. I mean, we actually toast the bagel to make a bagel sandwich and, assemble a wrap to make a breakfast wrap. So sometimes it takes that extra minute or two, but I think people, once they try our products, they realize, okay, it's worth that extra minute waiting for it because it's fresh. So, but the drive-through is a big deal.
I just got to say that we approached many banks for when we first opened up, and no one was willing to loan us any money, Kel. So we went to Bryce at Wisconsin, and we just kind of feeling out like who would possibly do this. Again, this is not our background. It's not our history. I knew nothing about this, and met with Bryce, walked us through, introduced us to Mike, and the whole system itself was done behind the scenes by them, which is a credit to you guys, especially for us not having any idea what we were doing. You guys made the process so simple, and just this is your next steps, do this, and walked us through. And so anybody out there who is trying to or thinking about opening a business and don't know where to go or how to do it, Bryce at Wisconsin and Mike, there's some people to talk to.
I'm pretty sure it's a good thing you're a great barista and a good business owner, because during that time we just had you show up and sign the dotted line. I mean, that's all you really had to do at that part, Joe.
Absolutely. I have a face for radio.
Yeah. For anyone unfamiliar with Joe's size and stature, his speed and strength and UW Badger football background, law enforcement background, delivering anything but a loan approval was out of the question. So
that's right. I was like, okay, there's got to be a way to say yes on this one. I don't want to know what happens if we say no.
Yep. It is a gift and a curse sometimes, but I used it as a gift this time.
Well, we appreciate you guys coming in. Thank you so much. If anyone needs help, give them a call. They'll be able to walk you through anything. But thanks for coming into Cabin Coffee, and we'll talk to you soon.
And as you know, we call this podcast the roast. So we are a roastery at Cabin Coffee. So we roast our beans fresh on site from all over the world. They come in green, and we are a roastery. So for our guests today, a thanks to them for giving up their time and coming in and chatting with us. We sent them off with a 1 pound bag of cabin breakfast coffee roasted right here in Cabin Coffee. So thanks to our guests.